37 degrees right now, and we welcome you to it.
Where in the world is Maggie McDaniel?
We'll find out.
Where in the world is Maggie McDaniel?
Well, she is right to my
Look,
right.
she's right here.
Good morning.
Now, we got to speak to you a little bit on the road last week, so now we're going to get a catch up on that. But everybody knows this about me. I love to beat a thing to death. So at the beginning of our show, an hour ago, I asked producer Tim and Ron Finn what talent that they don't possess that they wish they had. You wish you have a talent that you don't possess. Is there? And then I asked Pat Odie Murray the same thing, and she said, "Dave, why are you wasting my time?" And
Yeah, 'cause she's good at everything.
Yeah, and she said, "Come on, please. We've got more important things to talk about." Now, also, I ask you, Maggie McDaniel, what talent is there that you wish you possessed that you don't possess?
I'm kind of like you. I wish I could. I was a musician and a singer.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
love to be singing in blues,
Yeah.
down south or the rock blues and that type of thing, southern rock blues. I love that type of music. And sometimes I put on jazz and that and just, like to be in a smoky bar,
Yeah.
playing the music or whatever and singing. Yeah,
Now,
that
you
would
know
be cool.
who does that every single week? Dr. Ray Garendi. He
Really?
has a standing gig in Canton, Ohio at a jazz bar, and he plays.
Yeah.
Still
No.
does. Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's he did for years, played every week. I assume he's still doing it, but I haven't checked in with him on that. But he still has that talent. Everywhere he goes, he plays a little. Now,
I would love piano, and I always love bass guitar. I love the bass.
Oh, so you'd go bass. So, but piano first? Like,
yeah, I
if,
think
if
that's
someone said
important.
you could be proficient at one, would you
Oh
pick?
boy, probably the piano, but
Pick
I would
the
still
piano.
bass guitar would be a close second.
Did you ever take lessons?
A little bit,
You
yeah,
did?
a little bit.
Okay.
Messed around. I was in the band in high school and whatnot. And I grew up, though. My father was a brilliant trumpet player.
Oh, wow.
And so in the evenings, the TV wasn't on. He'd just be playing music. It was a lot of swing and Al Hurt, Maynard Ferguson. He was just really an excellent trumpet player. I just wish I had some of it recorded. He was very good.
Yeah, Eileen, my wife, her father was a concert level pianist. So they grew up just with music in the home, and then she herself was at that level as well. So, what a blessing
It
for
is.
those who have
And-
that talent.
Yeah, and I have one
yeah.
nephew who's got the musical talent. He can play just about anything string, I think, guitar, banjo. He's just really good. And I took him my father's trumpet last summer. He's going to try and pick that
my
up. Yeah.
goodness.
So you never know, but he has a brain that can comprehend all that and chords, and he can just. Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, I admire people with great musical talent, and then I feel badly toward them in some way, because I wish I had
That
it.
resentment,
And,
that envy,
that
that sin of
that
envy.
that's the thing I'm working with.
Yeah, all right. We know what Dave's working on for Lent, right?
That's right.
So tell us
Yeah.
about the trip last week.
Oh my goodness! You know what? It's really nice because you can do a beautiful pilgrimage in a week, only an hour time difference. We went down to Mexico and visited Puebla, Our Lady of Octalan, and where St. Michael appeared, and whatnot. But one thing that I asked a lot of the pilgrims near the end, what really struck them, and they were talking about Blessed Miguel Pro. 36-year-old priest. He had to finish his studies out of the country because of the Cristero Wars, and they were starting to implement. Mexico was trying to make the churches become the Church of Mexico. They wanted them to break from the Vatican. And when he ended up doing his theology in Belgium and whatnot, they sent him home. It's kind of funny. They sent him home saying, he was sick with ulcers and whatnot. Says, well, we're going to send you home. And he told his sister, they're sending me home now because it's cheaper to do it while I'm alive than if they'd have to send home a corpse.
Oh, wow.
But anyways, he came back, and these anti-clerical and Catholic laws are enforced. And so he had to really do underground masses, ministry, do whatever he could to try and keep, because he was followed, to keep the police off of him. And there was an assassination attempt against the president, and they blamed him and his brothers.
Oh my God.
No trial, no nothing.
Of course not.
They just
and he had to. He was kind of a master of disguise. Too.
He was. Yes, he was. I mean, and he came out of a house one time, and they said the police were out there, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" I said, "We're looking for Miguel Pro. Have you seen him?" They said, "No, we haven't." And he walked away. And he'd be dressed like a clown, or he'd be and going places. But then when he would get in or whatever, he would be able to say mass. He'd sit on a park bench with a newspaper, and people would just kind of come and go to hear confessions.
Oh my goodness.
Just think, he was watched,
Wow.
though. Yeah. But then, no trial, no nothing. They lined him up. He knelt down and prayed before and prayed for them and forgave them. stretched out his arms in the form of a cross with a crucifix in one hand, a rosary in the other, and they shot him. And when he fell down, he wasn't dead. They shot him point blank. But his last words were "Viva Cristo Rey," long live Christ the King. And I think what an example. He did not detour from his faith for the sake of his life, because as we all should know, I mean, it's easier said than done when you're not faced with it. Our true life is after.
Amen.
This is just our journey to where we want to end up.
And we admire these men and women who were willing to and ultimately did lay down their lives for our faith. And the church is built on the blood of the martyrs. We know that for certain. And there's great growth when that kind of persecution takes place. Look, we know in the early, 1,000 years ago or less, missionaries were going to places where they knew they were going to die.
Absolutely.
And they were vying for one another to be the one that could go and lay down their life because they knew that the reward that awaited them was heaven. But also, you're going to bring a few people with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's nice, too, is in Mexico, I think there was like 78% still Catholic.
Yeah.
They go to church, and his remains are just in a little parish church, Holy Family Church, and there's now a little museum next to it that we were able to go in. And, this was in the newspapers because they wanted it to be a deterrent, and it turned out the opposite. People became more inflamed against it. And they have a relic of his finger that we were all able to touch,
nice.
Or touch our rosaries too, and let us venerate a relic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, So it was pretty powerful, I think, for everybody, because most people have never heard of him before.
Well, everybody's heard of the second Juan Diego, but not many have heard of the first Juan Diego. Which
Yeah,
was
Saint Juan Diego
associated with Saint
Bernardino.
Michael.
Yes,
Yeah.
that he, Our Lady appeared to him. There was a pandemic going on, and he was looking for water to take to his family. And she said, "Where are you going, my son?" And he said, "Water for my family." She said, "Well, come with me and I will lead you to healing water that will cure not only your family, but everybody of the pandemic." And it did. And that well's still there. We went down and drank from the well. And and there's a picture on our Facebook page. It's kind of funny because the sister there, they had the blessed water in like a spray thing. And she said, "You're supposed to make like the sign of the cross, spraying it over a person or anywhere that they have an ailment." So Father Adam's there with this like little spray gun spraying. Somebody said, "Is that Father Adam spraying Susan?" And I go, "Yes." And he thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, I'll bet, yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's still there. We walked down a steep hill, down a hill, it's still there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was
And
pretty
then
cool.
visited Our Lady of Guadalupe as
Absolutely,
well.
twice. Yeah.
My goodness.
70,000 pilgrims were there the first day we were there.
We forget about that trip,
Yeah.
which is much closer to us than many others. Just
Yeah, you want to go? Let me know.
Gotta
It's a
love
great
it.
pilgrimage.
CatholicFaithJourneys.com. Sign up for one of the open pilgrimages.